experiencing the co-creation that is in play in this moment. And we won't know all of what that means until we are experiencing this moment and experience these 55 minutes and then experiencing the next group and their 55 minutes as we weave two of these groups together to see how we bring this together. I want to just say right now that this is only Peace Week 1. We will have multiple Peace Weeks, so this is not the only show in town. There are multiple opportunities that we're going to be sharing on the Humanity Rising platform. So if whatever happens next week will be what happens next week, but there will be other weeks in which we are going to be participating as a community on the ongoing experience and experiment called the Peace Lab. So, Kurt, anything you'd like to add before we begin?
Oh my God, there's nothing to add to the love that we have together and how we express it each moment. And I'm so blessed to be with you and in harmony and love. Thank you.
So how we're going to do this is that one person says, I'm going to begin. And then when they're finished, we take, as you finish, I'd like you to identify the person to whom you'd like to pass your talking stick to. And that way, then we take a minute, 30 seconds or so, to take a breath between each one. And then we will move to the next one who comes into the space, shares your gift, and then we keep going. And so we're going to wait till we've had all of our sharing before we start to say, well, what is the co-creation that's emerging in this moment? So who would like to begin?
This is Diane Hargrave, and I'll begin. I'll pick up the feather. My name is Diane Alcoy. I'm a descendant of the Shinnecock Nation, which is on Long Island in New York, currently from Nevada. The gifts that I bring to this gathering and to these circles is what I call sacred marriage of science and spirit. I work in both realms, and I offer my lineage and my left and my right brain to the process of looking at peace and looking at how we all come together. I'm a member of, as with several women here, a grandmother circle that has been meeting for years, and I'm happy to be with all of you. And with that, I'm going to pass the feather to my sister Susan, my grandmother's sister Susan, who's part of the circle that I share. Thank you.
Well, I'm going to begin. I have 3 names. My first name is Susan, which is my English name, Susan Starr Christensen. My Hebrew name from my mother's is Sarah, and I have a Tlingit name. I was adopted by Jim Walton, who's an Alaskan elder, and my Tlingit name is Chaaksik, which means eagle daughter. I'm here today representing in part the group of women who meet weekly in a grandmother circle, and we had offered to bring to Peace Week a meditation which our sister grandmother Suzanne in Germany had received in a dream, and to offer that peace meditation and then to provide an experience, which another gift that we've developed or that's been developed in our circle, which is heart sharing and sacred listening. We bring that as a gift that we've been practicing and something that we use and we believe is really important to teach people and for people to learn how to use, which is learning to speak not from our heads, but from our hearts. And also, maybe even more importantly for the age we're living in, learning to listen as if the Creator is speaking. And we found that those are skill sets that require a lot of practice. So that's what we had wanted to offer to Peace Week, in addition to the honor that we've been given to open and close day one. So with that, I'll pass the feather to Suzanne, who's one of our grandmothers who also made part of this offering.
I'm Susanna from Germany, picking up the feather. I received a peace meditation in a dream several years ago, and this peace meditation has two directions. One is to feel and bring peace in our own hearts, and the other direction is from this inner peace to send peace out to the world, to people we know, to places on the earth who need peace, or whatever feels in the meditation the right direction. And this peace meditation is given to me to share it within circles, and that would be part of our grandmother's circle offering for Peace Week. With that, thank you. And with that, I pass the feather to Noreen.
I am Shinget Simshian out of the Southeast Alaska region of Alaska. I'm currently living in Juneau, Alaska, which is the capital of Alaska. I'm 3 miles from the Mendenhall Glacier watershed, which is the photo that comes up when I stop my video. I bring to the circle peace and harmony from Mother Earth to all of our hearts as we move forward to send this love out to the universe. And I am also a grandmother in the grandmother circle on Wednesday, Zoom call weekly. Very grateful. Going to Chish for the opening of Peace Week and all the intention that's behind it. On our relations, and I will pass it to Anahata.
Good morning. I'm in Hawaii, on the big island of Hawaii at this time. I'm from these islands, but I haven't been living here all these years. I am part of the grandmother circle, but I want to offer something that could work in another part of this peace event, if it fits there. And whether or not I would be opening or closing in our peace circle is part of what is all being woven together. I would just like to offer, besides that, to just make a short introduction using my sound drum. And this is something that could be anywhere in the Peace Week. It's an adaptation of the Thich Nhat Hanh beautiful poem called the Bell Chant, which I've adapted for the drum. So I will just sing the opening line of this. It would be used to prepare all of the people to come into a mindfulness, heart-centered space, because those are the words that come in this poem by Thich Nhat Hanh. May the sound of this drum penetrate deep into the cosmos. Even in the darkest spots, living beings can hear it clearly, so that all suffering in them ceases. Understanding comes to their hearts. understanding comes to our heart in this moment, so that all suffering ceases and we transcend the path of sorrow and death. It takes about 3.5 minutes to complete Thich Nhat Hanh's poem as adapted. Mahalo and aloha to all.
And who are you passing the feather to?
I'm passing the feather to the next person that wants to pick it up.
That was beautiful. I would love to go. My name is Kristen, and I'm in Columbus, Ohio. And I've been working with Danielle Hansman, who's here on the call as well, on co-creating a intentional meditation network that we've been calling Co-Create the New Earth. And I think after the beginning of this pandemic, last spring, I was getting the call that we need to continue these synchronized meditations that were happening on a daily basis. And so I started the group on Facebook, and, people would get involved and then it would fizzle out. And then in the end of the summer, I was connected with Danielle through a beautiful friend. And so she said, we don't know why you need to meet, you just do. And so we started talking, and I said, well, what projects have you been working on? And she said, well, I just feel like we need to do this, intentional meditation network. And then we need to have these synchronized meditations. And so I said, yay, me too. And we just knew that we were meant to be in the sisterhood working together. So every day at 2, we've been leading an intentional guided meditation where we drop in, and then we pick whatever the calling is for the day to do a guided visualization into what will be healing for that moment in humanity, or what the new earth will look like. And so today we did a heart-centered meditation for healing each other and opening into a heart-centered way of living for humanity, where everyone's hearts are open and bliss, and just marinating in this field of bliss. So we were guided to be here. I'm happy to be here and co-creating with everybody here in this space. And I am passing the torch to Hillary.
Hi, greetings. I'm coming to you from a little town called Newmarket, in just about 65 kilometers north of Toronto in Canada. And I bring trickster energy. And the holy trickster who brings in surprises. I was a surprise. My mother didn't know she was having me. I was the afterbirth. Leslie was first, and then I was popped out as a surprise. So I've always been the unexpected. So I'm just going to continue on and bring to this gathering trickster, holy and sacred trickster energy.
And who do you pass the feather to, Hill?
Well, I'm not sure who has gone because I was late. So I'm gonna say who would like to go next, because I don't know, honestly don't know who's been or not.
Okay. Come on in.
So I'm Catherine. I'm going to come in for a couple of reasons. One, I have to leave at 1. So just know that if we continue past that, I will be gone. And what I bring, actually, my work has been about helping people understand how to reconnect to the earth, and to do that through a values perspective. I bring the understanding that values are systems, which I think is a new thought and has profound ramifications for how we understand using and actuating the values we hold dear. And one of those systems is one that, with an awful lot of help, has been distilled from how nature works. So we talk about both heart energy and head energy, and we have both. And certainly the arts and song and those things really touch our hearts, but our heads need to be engaged as well. And so I think the understanding the values that the earth actually functions by and that makes the ecosystems we live in robust and healthy, were they to be practiced by us humans, would be beneficial. And so that's what I bring. And I also came in a little late, so I don't know if Robert has talked.
No. Robert. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Robert. I'm currently in the Netherlands, in Rotterdam, in Europe, and happy to be here. And hopefully I can contribute to the Peace Week and Peace Lab. I'm a coordinator for several transition platforms, and I love this project as part of the whole universal being. I'm very intuitive, so I will shortly give my offering to you. I recorded the document by registered letter in 2013. This document concerns the official registration of an overarching belief, and it's love. And I've been thinking about a better world for some time, and my offering is this official registration of this belief. The question why I want to do this is that in the current situation in the world, there are many different forms of religions, perhaps thousands. And because all of these differences in views and all religions together actually create some form of boundaries and in-the-box thinking. And even wars are fought over them. So in this way, I hope as humanity, we're actually holding back, or hope not, that we are currently holding back the progression of a complete connection. And I want to support the interfaith dialogue and call upon all religions to officially accept this symbolic overarching belief that unites us. So you can see it as a sub-belief or a sub-faith, just like a dialect under a language. And I think it's a crucial step towards lowering these illusionary borders in our minds, which can result in a better world and peace. And I'll pass the feather to Shannon.
I am honored. Thank you, Robert. Thank you so much. I'm Shannon MacArthur. I know Robert from Rotterdam. And I'm here in Kamloops, British Columbia, in the territory of the Secwepemc people. I am a priestess of Gaia, and I bring a promise of peace from Gaia, that going forward, there shall be peace. And that's what we're all here for. And I really want to allow the love that Robert talks about to uplift us all into an awareness of the forward movement, the going forward, that will enable us to find and ground the peace that I've been seeking and creating around me. I'm a writer. I talk about the magic in ordinary moments that guide us through our lives, that inspire the changes in our lives. And I also talk about pop, the power of people, the power of the choice of individuals that create the forward movement. I also talk about OGs. And OGs is an acronym for Our Heart Gardens, a global network of interconnected gardens in communities, the hearts of communities that I imagine are like the hearts of a worm that enable the organism to thrive because of the interconnectedness of the many hearts of the worm. And so the many hearts of the one that we are is being formed through the gardens that we do together in our communities. And it is in those places that we heal together and that we feed the communities that support the systems that enable our ongoing thriving. And I am so grateful to be here with you. And I'm sorry I came in late. I wish I knew who else would somebody help me out? Who wants to go next? Oh, Maureen, thank you.
Hello, everyone, and I'm so grateful and honored to be here with all of you in all of your wonderful wisdom and offerings. Yes, my name is Maureen Edwardson, as shows on the screen there. I am also in Canada, in the Greater Vancouver area, in a small place called White Rock by the Sea, which is on the Washington state border, and I face south where I live, so I'm blowing kisses everywhere in all directions all the time. I'm grateful to know that we are all part of each other, no matter what the illusion or delusions are that are being created of separation. And so over the last almost 30 years, I have developed a process, a protocol is what I call it, that allows all of us to come clear from the past, the present, and the projected future into this 0 point moment, this point of potential where everything is already existing, everything is already possible. And I love that Dr. Bruce Lipton says that we're all out of our minds, because what he means by that our minds are in the field all around us. So the inner resonance technologies protocol that I've developed along the way and have been practicing all over the world, actually, so gratefully, is an opportunity for the superconscious to address all of what Rumi would say is unlike love, unlike peace, that allows us to come clearly into the center of our hearts, in that space, open-hearted, connected into more of the truth of who we are, love, compassion, spirit, our authentic self, and allowing that instant inspiration and creativity for solutions to emerge as it does effortlessly with people and groups that I've been blessed to facilitate. So it's a simple protocol of a few questions that are all designed for yes, that combine to activate the part of us and catalyze the part of us that already knows the truth, of that greater good, the greater wholeness, the greater vision of a new earth. It already exists. And so it's very simple. I can do the nutshell version from the nut in 15 minutes and or a half hour or hours. I teach this work as well. So it's unlimited in its application for whatever is stuck, whatever wants to have creation. So it's freedom of what no longer needs to interfere with us and separate us, and allows this to happen effortlessly and instantly at the superconscious level of the truth of who we are that commands all of our reality. And truly, we are commanders of our personal universe, as now understood by unified field theory science. And I've been, an official student of Nissim Haramain and the Resonance Science Foundation since '09. And I'm really grateful to have, Dr. Bruce Lipton endorse my work, and I'm on his website and his, resourced in his last 2 books. And so it's because it's a practical application. And I bring this from the ancient part of who I am into this current reality as it's applied as concepts. It can be languaged in any way that people relate to. And so I'm always guided, in the language that the greater group for the greater good is resonating with, and it's effortless, and that's the joy, right? It allows, because everything exists all right now, our this lifetime's memories, the genetic ancestral memory of our DNA, our soul memory, the memory of the whole planet. And so it's all exists here. So this allows us to sit in the center of our hearts in what I call the chemistry of wholeness, in that clear frequency of freedom, to be more of who we are in a clear space, knowing how to create from our greatest selves together, collaborating in just this beautiful place of non-competition, of non-ego. And it just allows that greater part of all of us to come together and just amplify the vision that we're all creating from our hearts at this time. So it's very simple. It underwhelms you, and yet it's profound in its effect to shapeshift and transform. So here we are. That's my offering, and 15 minutes to whatever time's available, wherever you want to plug me. I apply to everything. You know, it's just a global possibility of creation that fits in and harmonizes with wherever we're at. So who am I choosing? Connie Baxter.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm calling in from Sunrise Ranch in Loveland, Colorado. And my offering is the vision and the knowing that there is absolutely only the coming of peace on earth and heaven on earth. That's my reality. That's my knowing. And that will come about as we access higher frequencies, where it's a new ball game. The laws are expanded. It's another way of being, where there's more abundance than we can fathom. So there's nothing to fight over, and there's no power and control over others, because everyone has more than they can fathom in a higher frequency, and the earth is moving into that frequency. And we are being called to do our work to elevate our frequency so that we can stay with earth and bring forth a new way of being that's never been on the planet in the history of the planet. And that comes from us all coming together and bringing our pieces of the hoop together and creating the hoop of life, as a grandmother once told me. And so it also comes through the bringing of the indigenous understanding of the nature of the universe and the sacredness and oneness of all life that unified science is now proving with Maureen, with her work, with Nassim and Bruce et al. So that's all what I can bring is my vision, my knowing. It's absolute for me, and that changes everything as to how one sees the world when one moves beyond duality, beyond right and wrong and good and evil. It's a huge leap. So, but it changes everything, including one's frequency, one's vibration and one's frequency. Thank you.
And who's coming in next?
Yeah, so Gloria and Bob.
All right. Well, Bob and I are in Marin County, north of San Francisco, and depending on how much time and what others are contributing, what would fit best with your plans and themes, we're flexible, but the possibilities that we are thinking of are poetry. Bob's a poet, has written some himself, and scripture, since this is with spirituality also.
Yes, I would probably take 3 to 4 minutes to read several of my published poems on war and peace. One about my father going to the Second World War when I was 6, and 2 poems about my grandchildren.
And then I would like to use the biblical stories of Jacob and Esau to point out some interesting parts that aren't very well known, and also of Abigail and David to illustrate Jesus' beatitude when he says, "Blessed are the peacemakers," not just those who are at peace, but the peacemakers, for they will be called the children of God.
Thank you.
And let's see. It's Kate Roberts. Gone?
Yeah. No, not yet.
All right.
Greetings all. I'm Kathy Jane Roberts. I come to you today from Chumash territory. I'm in Ojai, California. I'm really a simple lover of life. I'm a representative of many circles that are working on coherence and wholeness. And so I'm kind of a connector of sorts and can play that clown role with you, Hillary. So with that, I'm just really honored to be in circle with you all. We'll bring any connections that I can, and just bring my simplicity and representative of many. And I'll pass the well, has everyone, Paula, have you spoken?
Hello, everyone. I'm honored to be here. Incredible group of women and men. My journey began, just a minute of that, with reconnecting with my daughter who had passed away. And it was through the breadcrumbs that I followed after that connection in 07, 08 that I was led into helping others connect with their loved ones that have passed, and studied with the Four Winds and shamanic energy medicine. And I do that here, living in upstate New York, and part of a sweat lodge here. An important part of my work and who I am is a deep connection with Mother Earth. I'm bringing those teachings of our interconnectedness to children. I'm wellness director at a private school in Miami that is developing and teaching the medicine wheel to children and teens, and they're just amazing. That makes my day. I have also recently published my book, A Mother's Journey to Awaken, and finding hope and inspiration with my daughter in her afterlife. Jim Garrison, who I met at Menla a little bit over a year ago with Banashe, who I dance with as often as I can online. Syed, also with Ubiquity, wrote the foreword to my book, and I kid him it's the best part of my book, even though my book is good. I feel that a lot of my book is about working with a shadow, and that's what I do when working with individuals, and I feel that that could be an offering for here in a shamanic journey and healing the shadow and going into the lower world. It's I think people are really struggling with how it is that they themselves can bring in peace within themselves. What is their own individual next step? And so the journey would set that intention to receive a symbol that would be uniquely theirs. We know symbols represent clusters of energy. And, I've worked with grandmother energy that came to me with my vision quest. All my stakes became grandmothers and helped reweave my field. And we just invite in that energy to help people then weave that energy of that symbol, into their field. And the other thing I could offer, a jingle came to me. I put on a women's summit every year for other mothers who have a child with a disability. My daughter Alexandra was born with a severe disability. And it came to me in preparation for the Women's Summit, and it is Mother Earth. We're going to do a call and response, and Mother Earth is singing Rise, My Daughters, Rise. And the daughters respond in I'm rising with intuition, I'm rising with courage, I'm rising with strength. And I work with Brazilian Voices, a professional group, as well as of singers who are involved in arts and medicine, which is a love of mine. So they're creating the music to that. So that could be another, it's very short. It could be something that we just offer, and it could be pre-recorded and interwoven somehow into the offering. So thank you. And I am not sure, I think everybody's.
Not everyone has.
No, Marlene. Malini, I don't believe is gone, if I'm right, but I would pass the feather to Malini.
Malini, you're on. And if Malini's not, she's in India, and sometimes her internet is not always as robust as it might be. So while we're waiting, Ruthie, no, we want Ruthie right this minute.
Hello, I'm Ruthie. I live along the shores of the Big Skookum, which is south of the Salish Sea, the south part. I'm here to introduce to you my friend Ellen Davidson. And Ellen's applied to be a presenter. She is a tree sister and a Sangha sister, and she lives near the large redwoods in Northern California. She was born as a tree whisperer. She was born with this acute sensorium, which was tough growing up with, but she receives really clear messages and guidance from nature, but especially trees in the last 40 years. She's written a book about it. And we're both really keen on this idea of interbeing, which also comes from our Sangha and from Thich Nhat Hanh. So it is time. The trees have been asking for a while for her to speak more than whisper. She's very quiet, but the trees are insisting that she bring forth their voice. And they're honoring us with their love, their friendship, and their assistance. And we are here for this time right now to really step into this ancient relationship with our standing ones, our relatives. They are a place of refuge and wisdom. And what we do in process and what Ellen can offer is her modeling and her invitation for us to listen and then to hear and then to act on the messages. So we'll soften, release, and open in humble presence, really, really, really bringing forth the voice of the standing ones.
So, Danielle, hello.
Hello. Hi. I'm here from Miami, Florida, and Kristen March, she's my partner right now. She spoke to what our offering is, which is a guided intentional meditation for peace and what we visualize the world to look like. We've been running intentional meditations every day for the last 3 months at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We post them on YouTube and on Facebook, and every day is a different theme. And we'd be honored to be a part of Peace Week and to offer a guided meditation.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful, Danielle. Thank you for being here. Julie, is there anything you'd like to come into the space with, my dear? Julie's been madly getting us all together. I also want to invite your voice, my love.
Please. Here's my voice. That's all I need to say. Thank you so much. I will be at the next session, and so will Ellen D. She's wonderful.
Oh, well.
Thank you. I want to give all of you time to, and Leslie, to design this together to co-create.
Well, thank you so much. I'm intrigued by this question that I'm going to ask what you come in with. The Peace Week is designed as a series of intersections. You know, it's not paths, it's intersections. And while we are going to uncover paths, we're holding the intention of the intersection. And so just to imagine that day one is the intersection of race, culture, and activism. And then day two is the intersection of trauma, compassion, and economy. And the third is the intersection of belief, the arts, and transformation. And the fourth is the intersection of spirit, the spirituality, reality, and intention. And the fifth is with agency activation. I'm not going to go all into that because that's the fifth day after this. But I want to just honor that we want to go into that sweet spot where people do not glaze over and go, oh, well, I do meditation. Oh, I have a path. Oh, I have a non-dual view of life. Oh, I have the message, to where we can take our Humanity Rising community into a place they have not yet traveled. And that to me is the invitation that we're being asked to address. So as you listened into these beautiful offerings, what do you think is that intersection where we have a place that we travel to, not yet travel to with Humanity Rising, but a place that will be both unexpected, surprising, and of course, that's where we would be.
Seems to me, Leslie, that's a difficult question.
And Shannon, can we just wait for a minute for people to think about it? I just want to, yes, I just want to hold the question. Just hold the question, because we do know the answer. We do know the answer. The intersection of spirituality, reality, and intention. The sweet spot that Humanity Rising has not yet hit.
I think it's fundamentally reframing shadow. And I think it's understanding shadow from a very different place, because I think shadow's got a bad rap. As the trickster, of course, I would say that, but I think that it's going into heart resonance is a really important thing to do. In order to really feel heart resonance, you have to travel from somewhere, and I think that shadow. For me, it would be amazing to explore what shadow trying to help us understand that we haven't understood before. What is it trying to show us that we haven't seen before? What is it? And because I think that the work of the shadow is again, there's a mystery to it that is so beautiful and so profound, and when it shows the way to embodied light, there is, because I have this little theory that our traumas are merely breadcrumb paths that lead us to other places inside us, and that when we get there, and they're very intentional how they lead us, when they lead us, it's absolutely mind-boggling when you think about it. And that when you reach that trauma through the breadcrumb path and you open it up, it's actually like like in Aladdin, where you open up this magnificent cave of riches, of abundance. It's not the deep, dark, and scary place. It actually holds amazing things. So I think that there's listening around the guided meditation, the tree whisperer, and the whole idea of the interbeings, the idea of the poetry and song. How could these be vehicles of helping us uncover more about the mystery of shadow? So that's where I come from for thinking from the unexpected.
Yes, Maureen.
It's been my experiencing working with people all these years that when they clear everything that's not who they are in their field at a higher level, then what's left is an open space of where we've never gone before, individually and collectively. And that's been my experience over and over again, and in astounding ways, where people have opened up the new potential that individually and collectively we're visioning. And it happens through inspiration, through all the different ways that each of us have. And yes, I forgot to mention a main tool that people take away after doing even a brief protocol of inner resonance is a spot somewhere on their body, doesn't matter where, and you can reactivate that chemistry of peace, of wholeness, of freedom on a whole new level every day. And so it's always continuously shifting into new places of potential. And it's very interesting because what has been said, when you said about, going to places where you haven't gone before. When I was interviewed once, it was, I had to pick two pieces of music, and it was the night before I was going away for 3 months. So it's just like I didn't have headspace to think of anything. So one was Imagine, John Lennon, and the other just popped into my head, the theme for Star Trek. And then it wasn't until the halfway through the interview when, she was allowing, everybody to come into, a bit of a break, that then she came back and said, so why did you choose this song? And I went, oh, all of a sudden it came in that moment that the question was asked. And that's how we are. When the question's asked or when the situation arises, we get the inspiration, we get the insight, we get the way of moving forward. And so I said, oh, so because people have said, you know, that IRT allows them to go where no man's gone before. So by clearing everything that's not who we are and opening up into the potential that we all vision and creating that synergy of something even greater than we haven't even imagined, is through all the ways that we have. And in that clear space, everything gets woven together and more arises that we haven't anticipated. So that's, I just, for whatever that's worth, you know, that's
Thank you. I want to call in. Thank you so much, Maureen. Did somebody just raise their hand? I wanted to call. Yes, I'm going to go Gloria and Bob, Susan, and then I'm going to call in Diane, because I think that we're playing between multiple worlds in the moment. And I'd love for us to just push this a little bit more. So Bob, and then Susan, and then Diane.
Very quickly. First of all, congratulations to Shannon and Kurt and Julie and you, Leslie, for doing such a beautiful job of inviting people to participate and of organizing this in a way that opens up exciting possibilities. It's very clear that to do everything that everybody on here could do, this would take a solid week, and you have to make Solomonic decisions. So I would say that everyone on here needs to say, as we will, we don't need to be on this program. If what we offer can be useful for what you're saying, that humanity rising is doing something new or something interesting or something that we haven't heard before, that's fine. Otherwise, we're happy to withdraw. And I hope that's the spirit that everybody participating in this, because otherwise you are left with this incredibly Solomonic decision among so many wonderful choices. So thank you for what you have done and for the task that you have before you.
And you're going to be on March 12th as well, right, Bob? So this is wonderful. That's notwithstanding the fact that I think we need your poem. So you're not off the hook yet there, fella. Just saying. Susan.
Yeah, I was going to say almost the same words that came out of Bob's mouth. I think the question that you're asking is a really important one. And it's one that I know I personally and the grandmothers have been asking for a long time. How do we lay down the things that we all brought and worked on so hard that we all love and know and have brought us to this point, in order to move beyond that and to really create a true sense of unity and the lesser peace that's been promised? So I know the grandmother circle, we're all, I can't speak for all of us, but I know the ones that spoke before, we're happy to bow out and not do any type of presentation, quote unquote, which is what we don't want to do, and just be able to support you in this inquiry in whatever way you need. So thank you.
May I just say that you just inspired the design of this entire day with what you just said. So that's what I mean by the synchronicity of how we go into these spaces. You just defined day 4. How do we lay down all that we come with? And how do we do it in grace and in awareness that we are opening to that which we have not yet known? Thank you so much for that offering. It was in your willingness to lay down that the gift came. What a beautiful thing. Thank you so much. Diane, I'm going to switch now because I'm aware of 6 minutes to go before we're out of here. I just want, Diane, as you listened in with this wonderful, the intricacy by which you go into your world of experience, what were you hearing about our time together?
I heard so many things, and everything that everyone said was completely integrated. when I thought about, I didn't even mention that my offering was to do the opening prayer for whatever day you said.
Day one.
Day one, there you go. And I'm listening to everybody, and the prayer is just writing itself in my head. And, but as everybody else has said, if somebody else wants to do the opening prayer, our energy is going to be there, whether we're presenting, whether we're logged in, or whether or not. So I just felt like every single person that shared was like a spoke in a wheel, but the wheel hasn't yet manifested. And it's only when we all bring our spokes together, now that I'm in this wheel analogy, that right there in the center, that's where the magic is. And it incorporates everything that everyone just said. I was sitting there going, oh my God, well, then there's that. Well, then I could do this, and there's that. And it's part of my gift. It doesn't have to be expressed in this venue. It's just seeing how that all comes together. And into the answer your question that you posed about how I heard was how we become greater than the sum of our parts. It's in simply just being authentic, integrating love and fear, like my shadow sister said, just integrating it, and then just see what happens. That's the juicy spot. Yeah. Anyway, that's my I didn't even pick up my feather, but I'm laying it back down now.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, Kristen, come on in.
I just wanted to bring in this thought that just came as you were talking about what each day represented, and as I think Hillary, who is your sister, was coming in and talking about the shadow, and letting go of that, and then it just transcended into this letting go of our egos. And the thing that kept coming through was how the beginning is about the culture, and you mentioned culture in the beginning, and it's like my partner and my life partner, my boyfriend, keeps saying to me every time I talk about what's going on in the world, and I'll say, well, they're doing this, or they want this, and he's like, just stop saying they. There is no they. And I believe that shadow piece that's going to emerge as we dive in is looking at the other people, or the other beings that are really just reflections of us, and reflections of the collective whole of humanity rising, right? And what they are representing for us to see about ourselves, and stop thinking that there's a they out there. And that as we do that shadow work and let down our ego, right, that true and our beliefs, that transformation into the new spiritual reality will truly, emerge. So that was just what I was, seeing as
Judy.
Thinking through. So.
Thank you for sharing that, Kristen. Other voices in this moment that are percolating and want to be expressed, just want to come into this space as we move to, where do we go from here? Anyone has a voice that wishes to come in? Paula.
Just to pull forward what Kristen was saying, it could be that you start the day with something, whether it wouldn't need to be a shamanic journey, but a something where people receive their own gift, their own teaching, their own wisdom, their own symbol, their own, right? And then you move forward with that. You pose the question almost like you posed to all of us, or maybe a bit different question, or maybe it's a shadow question, maybe it's just a different question. But people are asked then to go find the answer. And it with those symbols, with those messages, then as if it's like you do a qualitative study versus quantitative, right? It's like you work with the material that arises, and then you have the greatest chance, I think, of creating something new. Because if we all come in with our segments, right? Where does the new has to push through something. So maybe you start with something coming up from the earth. Maybe it's women, maybe it's shadow. The shadow I'm working with, my own life reflected into this work, is that the biggest piece for people to rise is women allowing other women to rise. So I just find that is a big barrier. It's a projection. I step into it every now and then. But you know, it could be that shadow piece or other shadow pieces, or maybe people come together as what is their shadow piece, you know, and then we work through it throughout the day, something that leads us into the juicy material, you know, with a really good, so many, I'm sure, good facilitators here that know how to glean those gems, you know. So that's my
Beautiful.
And I don't need to be part.
I know that all of you are graced with "you don't need to be part." You know what? I'm going to get the T-shirt. I don't need to be a part, but you already are, because you're here, and we're co-creating together. And so this is the beauty of this movement that we're creating. I know Shannon's been trying to get in, Sister Shannon. Oh no, you're.
No, I was pointing out Paula wanted to speak, and it was somebody else, and just trying to support the field. And this is so exciting, and I'm grateful to be a part of this group coming together.
I will say that one of our members, Sally, from who lives in France and isn't well right now, and so we're sending her tons of love. She always has said it's these conversations that are the new form of art. And you know, it's you know, even sharing this conversation about the conversation is a piece of art for how we bring this intersection alive. So I'm just commenting that there are such beauty and such richness in this. And what I hope that we can do then is move into I think for me, it's the reflection into the spirit that was opened in this conversation that will then guide us into where we are going next. And I think as we step into that reflection and share with each other, because we're now on an email chain, that we share with each other what is coming as we go into this place of, and what does this mean? What was this moment that we are being asked to do on behalf of Humanity Rising? So if I can leave us with you sharing, where did you go after you left here, and gave resonance to what is that moment? What is that sweet spot that we are opening on behalf of Humanity Rising, which is the collection of the whole and not any just one?
Say, like, one thing that really resonates for me coming as sort of wrapping it together is that, you know, the rally cry is always lay down your arms. Well, maybe our arms are everything we thought that was true, everything we thought to be dear, everything that we assumed was right. And maybe we have to lay down those arms in order to discover what it really is.
Beauty, beauty. Okay, may I then, because you know, one thing that happens with the ego is it says, yes, let everybody else lay down their arms, but I happen to know the one that needs to go forward. So that's the beauty of that question, is that, you know, how do we allow us to leave what we know and what we believe is to be true in this moment, so that the next evolution can appear. So this is the magnificence of this invitation that you have so graciously opened on behalf of Humanity Rising. I know that I'm going to be conscious of time. I'm going to pass it over to my co-convener, Kurt, in terms of what he's hearing into this space. What I'm going to say, just from a task orientation, is that we'll send this, as well as the other video that will be made of the other meeting, to everyone. And so you can sort of see what was it that percolated and occurred, and then listen into the space of what are we being invited into. And that, I think, is something that we can do in the next few days. The advantage of day 4 is it's after already 3 days, and we've got a bit more time than day 1 has. So I would just like to ask that we could do this, though, in a timely fashion in the next, 24, 40 hours, if we can come into what is percolating and how does it show up. And then we can make the final curriculum for Humanity Rising, because Lord of a Duck, we got to have names and bios and everything else in terms of that requirement. Okay, is the task clear? Watch 2 videos, see what it says. This is what you think the resonance is for the invitation. Yes? Yeah, we're good.
And
Over
then
to
we
you,
come
Kurt,
we
to
come
wrap
back
up.
on we come back on Thursday
Yes,
with whatever we've done to see how moving to the next level.
yes,
Thank you.
that would be it. So we'll set a meeting for Thursday where we can come together and say, here's what's emerging. How about that? Okay, brilliant. And I'm going to turn it over to the Kurt and I switched positions. I'm the yang and he's the yin. And so now I'm turning over to my yin partner.
I am so blessed with this living and caring for the Chumash territory. And the Chumash territory is really no different territory than where you are. It's Mother Gaia. There's no separation demon here in our group. We are all one. Mother Earth is all one. We have the force with us because we are the force. And with this great blessing that we see the reality as now. It is all so. The vision is clear. Peace with everyone, with everything. Everything with peace. Aho.
May we just take a deep breath of gratitude in for all that was here and all that was shared and all who we are. Thank you.
Mitakuyasin, all our relations. See you later, alligator.
Wild crocodile.
When your legs are straighter.
See you soon, raccoon.
Fly like a hummingbird.